What's up, people? For those of you that don't know me, my name is Trent Steele, aka Fatherrdiff. Today we're going to talk about the 7 Artisans 35mm lens for Fuji. Alright, so before I talk about anything, you guys need to go and subscribe right now. If you haven't, I really appreciate it. Go ahead and like the video if you like it. Even if you don't like it, just do me a favor, just hit it. Yeah, we're going to talk about the Fujifilm 35mm by 7 Artisans. I'm probably saying that wrong. Don't care. I'm from the country. That's how I talk. Right off the bat, it is a 0.4 f-stop lens. So that right there is going to let you know that this lens is going to let in a lot of light. And on top of that, it's also going to have a very, very good depth of field, very deep. So that's just something to keep in mind with this lens as far as a highlight. It also has a declicked aperture, which is this right here, that just turns so smooth. Like, you barely even hear it, but it's a very smooth turn. So needless to say, it won't be clicking, so therefore it's actually declicked. Another thing is, with this being a 35mm lens going on a crop sensor camera, hence the X-T4 by Fujifilm, this becomes a 52mm, so you might as well say a 50mm equivalent. And that focal length is not my favorite, but for some reason with this lens it works. I don't know what it is about it, but I really like this lens. I didn't expect it, but I did. Some of the pros, like I said, the 0.95 aperture, that is going to allow me to shoot in areas where I don't have enough light coming in to where I can manipulate the subject the way I need to. Because if you're trying to shoot with a 2.8 lens and like at an event, hence a club or a lounge or a birthday party or a gala, you know, they don't normally have a lot of light in there. So therefore, you need something with a wide aperture. This is gonna be my go-to guy, possibly. But I'll get to that later. But I love the way it lets in the light. Another thing is the depth of field. This has a very good depth of field. With it being 0.95, you can capitalize on that and get a very good separation from your subject in the background. And to give you an example of the depth of field, if you look at me and then look at this lamp right here, how it's blurred. Yeah, it can't focus on the wall because there's nothing there. But that's an example of depth of field. It's a separation of the background and the subject. So there you go. Next, we're going to talk about the build. This thing is straight. Like, bro, that's metal. That is straight metal right there. Like, all metal. And I love, you're going to call me childish, but I love, like, that's a thing for me. I don't know. I'll sit there and do that all day. It has like this little fuzzy stuff, I would call it, right there, to kind of help soothe it on there. I say soothe, but you know what I mean. But yeah, made like a brick. It has a little weight to it. It's not heavy. It's really not heavy at all, but it does have weight, and it's made out of straight metal, and that makes me feel like this is good quality. It makes me feel like it's not gonna tear up or get squished. This is something that you could really just bash somebody in the back of the head with as a weapon. You're carrying a weapon in your camera bag. But I like it. You'll be able to get fairly close to your subject also. An example of that would be right here. You can do that. One main thing that I want to highlight is the fact that it is a manual focus lens. Because of that means that even though I have a digital camera, it is not going to automatically focus on that subject. You're going to have to adjust that. So that's just something to keep in mind also, because you know a lot of people aren't used to that. But to me, I've gotten used to it by shooting with analog cameras, hence the Pentax 6.7. You know, it doesn't have an autofocus. You have to manually adjust that. So I'm used to that. I like that. That's one of the things that I like. This has a 12-blade diaphragm, which means that you're going to be able to let in, like, you're gonna be able to get really good bokeh. So because it has 12 blades, it's gonna have some very, very clean bokeh, which means those circles are gonna be perfect in the background. And if you're into bokeh, this is your lens. Those are the pros that I like about it, but some of those pros can also be cons. And I'll give you an example. The manual focus if you're in a situation trying to shoot sports or trying to shoot something moving, you're probably going to have a hard time catching that unless you have the aperture high, like at f8 or f4. But if you're shooting at f8 or f4, you're probably outside or you're in a situation where you have a lot of light. So that's a situation where that could be an issue. Manual focus, trying to catch a moving subject can be difficult. Another thing is the declicked aperture. Like I said, a lot of these pros can be cons. So even though it's really, really smooth to move, if you accidentally bump it, you can easily move that. So you're gonna have to be mindful of that. You're gonna have to always kind of look down and just check it and make sure it didn't get bumped or moved and you accidentally move it. So that's the thing. And then the last thing is a narrow focus of field. You're shooting at 0.95, that's less than 1, you know, of course, but that's less than 1. So therefore, your normal focus width or whatever you want to call it is very thin. You have a very thin focus range. So therefore at 0.95, you have a very narrow field. So let's just say 2.8 is this and you took it down to 0.95, you've taken it to like that. So like very, very sharp. That's pretty much the only complaints I have about it, but those complaints are work around. So I'm not worried about that. But I'm gonna give you some examples of how this camera works, some pictures, and you're gonna see me shoot it in real life. So we're gonna jump into that right now.
My girl, can't take my eye off you. Can't take my eye off you. Dim girl, don't got nothing on you. Don't got nothing on you. My heart is ready for something I have been had in a long time. True love crime. I hope you know that it may hurt for a while. Let's slow down, slow down. I can see behind that broken smile. Nice, sweet, smooth, like cocoa bread, cocoa bread. You're nice, sweet, smooth, like cocoa bread, cocoa bread. You're nice, like cocoa. You're nice, like cocoa bread, like cocoa bread. Oh, you're nice, like cocoa. You're nice. Cocoa bread, like cocoa bread. Ooh, driving date, watch a movie. Right by your side on duty, not too much or too sweet. Ooh, passion from yours truly. Let me know how you feel. Hope I'm not in too deep. Biwa, Phoebe, Ouija, Fever. Won't be alone forever.
I really hope you guys enjoyed that. So we're gonna go over these pictures real quick as far as like how it worked and some of the things that I noticed while I was shooting. I love the way they came out. They give me a very distinctive look. It gives me good sharp images once you nail the focus point. Like if you can nail the focus, then you're gonna be great. It's gonna be an adjustment, it's gonna be something you get used to, but once you get it and figure out how to do it, you'll be fine. Okay, so this one right here, which she was in under like a garage flooring or whatever, and it was darker. It wasn't dark, but it was darker. And I took it down all the way to 0.95, and as you can see, it let in enough light to where we can get everything we need. And if you notice, everything in that background is blurred completely. Like, you can barely make out what it is. If I didn't tell you what it was, you probably wouldn't know. Whereas you go to the next picture, you can kind of see more of what's back there. It has a very good depth of field that is kind of hard to replicate with another lens other than this one. I noticed on some of these pictures, when light hits it, it kind of gets like a little flare, which makes this haze. And you see that on this picture right here. You know, I put a little dehaze on it. That's how it came out, and this is with it naturally shot. So that's something to keep in mind too. It didn't come with a lens hood, but it's easy to avoid. It's not like a major killer for that. I'm fine with it. Just something to keep in mind when you're shooting. I'm gonna be completely honest. I love the way this lens shoots. To be able to just get that focus right where I want it. Normally, I don't shoot manual focus unless I'm shooting an analog camera, which is my film cameras. So I don't or rarely do it on my digital cameras. And a good help with this is the way the Fujifilm is set up. Once you switch it to manual focus, it pulls up a little area of the whole image, and then it gives like a little small square on top of that to where it helps you focus, and you can see right where your focus point is and help you out right there. And I did that during the shoot with her. Really big help. Otherwise, I probably would have missed it and struggled. So that's what I'm saying. You have to play around with it. But I mean, going back, looking through these pictures, I didn't miss too many focus points. Like, I hit it everywhere I wanted to hit. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of myself. Like, if you look at this one right here, you can just see that I got the focus right on the eye. And to me, that's crazy doing that manual. Like I said, it comes with help from the camera being able to allow me to do that. So the question that everybody want to know, who is this lens for? This is for somebody who wants that very, very good low aperture that you can use in low light situations. This is that lens. This lens is for somebody who wants shallow depth of field. This lens is somebody who wants very good bokeh. It's got 12 blades in it, so therefore your little dots are gonna be hella smooth. Yes. Okay, now, would I recommend this lens? Duh, as much as I've been talking about it, yes, I would recommend this lens. I'm glad I picked this lens up because, come on now, because I didn't know what I was getting. I looked at it in the mirror through the glass at KEH, and I was like, man, that lens looks tough. And I asked to see it. He let me hold it. And once I picked it up, I was like, man, this feels legit. Like, it's heavy, it's metal. So yes, after shooting with it, I love it. After learning Fujifilm's manual focus assist, that makes me want to shoot it even more. I would highly recommend this lens. It's $250. I mean, you can't really argue with that. So again, low light situations, this lens is perfect for. A good shallow depth of field, good bokeh. This is your lens. Also a very good lens to keep in your bag just in case. Never know when you're gonna need it. Always have a backup. This will be my backup lens for everything. And it also reminds me of shooting analog style. So a lot of lenses on digital cameras aren't manually focused. They are automatic focus. They do focus for you. But this right here gives me that analog feel where I can focus it myself. Now, my favorite picture, my very favorite picture would have to be this one right here. I don't know. It's something about the colors in her skin and the fact that I focused the point on her eye. I worked hard for that. So I really like the colors in this one, and it just looks so good together. I like it. It's my favorite one. Which one is you guys' favorite? Let's chop it up. Also, do you guys like this lens? Do you guys think this is a good lens to have? If you have it, do you like it? Are you looking at getting it? Do you want to get it? Let's chop it up. Let's talk about it. The 7 Artisans, 35mm for Fujifilm. Are you rocking with it? Hey, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. And I really appreciate you guys for And I really appreciate you guys for watching. See you guys next time. I am trying to beat this timer because I got like less than a minute left.